this is a humble message to internalize, my friends. I get it. I've been there. I have to check my ego all the time, all the time. Hey dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel. Let's talk about perfectionism, because confidence and perfectionism, they don't really seem to go together, do they? It's like those of us who categorize ourselves as perfectionists have a very hard time grasping onto this elusive experience of confidence, because it's so easy when you feel like you're a perfectionist to be so hard on yourself, so critical, that all you notice is everything you're doing wrong. You probably don't need me to tell you that. If you clicked on this video, you're already like, yes, I'm well aware, Kirsten. So let's just get into the 4 tips I have for you on how to actually resolve some of that perfectionism so that you can enjoy yourself, dance your best consistently, feel present as you dance. Let's get into it. Point number 1 is to define your values. In other words, what's most important to you. And I say this because I want to contrast it with what often happens when dancers are experiencing perfectionism. Perfectionism often is characterized as a bunch of expectations that we place on ourselves that are really high. And it comes in the form often of thoughts like, I have to do this, I have to be that, I should do that, I should be better at that by now. And it's all these rigid expectations that we judge ourselves really, really harshly for if we're not meeting them. And so instead of constantly feeling like you have to obey these standards and fulfill all the have-tos, it's really important to stop and ask yourself, okay, instead of my dance practice being all about living up to these standards that might feel like, no, you really do have to be the best in the room to hope to be a professional one day. No, you really do have to have perfect turnout. It might feel like that, but maybe not. Maybe the world isn't that black and white. So instead, let's step out of that black and white thinking and go towards an awareness of what is actually important to you personally. So a lot of times these expectations and these have-tos, as I call them, or shoulds, are really coming from other people. It could have come from you looking at Point magazine like I did when I was 12 years old, and I saw what the women looked like on the front cover, and I thought, if that's what professional dancers look like, I should look like that too. I was 12 and they were much older than me, and that was so not fair for me to internalize that. It wasn't fair to myself, but it ended up causing a lot of damage. Now, was it Point Magazine's fault? No. It's just something that happens. As humans, we all have this tendency to pick up what's going on around us and think, oh, I should be that, I should do that, oh, that's really what I should be. And we internalize that. And so the process of letting that go is, I want to start with saying, define your values. So the way that you can get clear on what's actually important to you as a person is to ask yourself, what is important to me about dancing? What do I want to gain specifically? What do I enjoy as a reward of dancing? These questions help to elicit and help you to become aware of the things that you actually love to experience and give yourself as a gift for all the hard work that you put in. Maybe an example of a value is, what's important to me about dancing, and these are some of mine, is joy, is being present. I love that about dance. It's such a meditative experience and practice for me. It's one where I feel really grateful. Gratitude is a huge value of mine personally, because I feel like at its best, dance is a celebration of what's possible. It's a celebration of the human spirit, the human body, and it's a celebration of the art that connects us, this expressive modality. So anyway, I'm using all these big words and getting all fancy, but that's kind of how I think sometimes. So when we do this step number 1 of asking, what is really important to me, then the next steps are going to be much easier and much clearer to implement. But you really have to get clear on what is actually important to you as a person. And I mean you, not according to anyone else, not according to these standards that apparently you have to live up to be good or whatever. No, put those aside for now and just ask you, what do I like? What do I want? That is going to be your North Star in this process of letting go of perfectionism. Step number 2 is to get clear on those old standards. those have tos and shoulds I've been referring to. Literally make a list, write them down. I actually had a client recently do this exercise. Write out all the have tos, the things you tell yourself you have to do, you have to be. Write them out. Ask yourself, what are the expectations I've been holding myself up to? Like all those definitions of good and bad and whatever that I've been saying I have to be, I can't be this. Write them out, get clear on them, because so often when I work with clients who are struggling with perfectionism, they have this sense that they're not doing well enough. They have this strong, strong desire to be the best that they can be all the time, and it's manifesting as perfectionism, but they're actually somewhat unclear on what are those specific standards that they've been holding themselves up to. What are the images of perfection and success they've actually been comparing themselves to, even in the back of their mind? It might not even be that conscious. A lot of times when we struggle with perfectionism, we spend most of our time being mostly aware of how far we are from the ideals without actually being very clear on what the specific ideal is that you are comparing yourself to. So get clear on what that is so you can call it out and be like, is that really what I have to spend my energy trying to be in my life? Do I really have to be that? Before you can question your old standards, you have to become aware of what they are. So this will be really enlightening. So yes, get clear on them, write them out, so then you can challenge them. And like I said, ask, do I really have to be that? Or how could I reframe it? And instead of saying I have to be the best dancer I can be every day, why not then replace that with something that's more in line with your values that you discover in step one of, instead of I have to be this, I choose to practice gratitude as I dance. I choose to practice connection to my community as I dance, like connection with my peers. And I allow myself to enjoy that. You know, you can move from the have tos to the choose tos only when you become aware of what those two things are. Hey friend, I'm going to interrupt this video for a very worthy cause. I want to share with you, if you haven't heard yet, that the Confident Dancer Collective, my new group coaching program, will be opening its doors for enrollment very soon. So the Confident Dancer Collective is a 6-week group coaching program that will provide you the opportunity to go from struggling with self-doubt and insecurities and fears that are getting in your way of feeling and dancing your best, to actually having the tools and the resources and the frameworks, the understanding to be the confident dancer you want to be. I know that for so many dancers, the process of building confidence feels vague. It feels like some people are just confident and then other people just aren't. That is not true. Confidence is truly something that everyone can develop within themselves, no matter if you're the most skilled or the least skilled dancer in the room. And as a mindset coach, I am so passionate about breaking these topics down, like how do we build confidence, and actually making it possible and understandable and clear for you so that you can actually feel like, yes, this is for me. I can be confident. I know how to start building that within myself. So if you want to be a more confident dancer and this next year you really want to start out being on fire, then join me and this lovely group of like-minded dancers who will be there to grow alongside you. You'll have weekly Zoom calls with me where I'll be sharing teachings, facilitating group discussions, having an opportunity for dancers to get little one-on-one coaching moments. And so we can all learn and grow and encourage each other and learn from each other. So join this program. If this piques your interest, all you have to do is just click the link in the description, theconfidentdancer.com, and you can learn more about all this program includes. Start now by getting on the wait list so you're the first to know when enrollment opens on December 14th. It closes December 23rd, and then we start in January, the first week. So learn more, get on that wait list, and I can't wait to work with you. All right, let's get into the rest of the video. Step 3 is get clear on what it actually costs you to strive to live up to those old perfectionistic standards. And oh my gosh, I can add 8 more points to this video, but then it would just turn into a whole masterclass. We're just going to do a short digestible video today, but we have to dive into step 3, okay? You have to get painfully aware sometimes of what it costs you every day to tell yourself, oh, I should be that, I have to be that, I'm not good enough for this, blah, blah, blah. Being that critical of yourself and being so hard on yourself actually costs you so much. But when we're not clear on what it's costing us, and then secondarily, what we would like to give ourselves the gift of experiencing instead. Like maybe it's costing you so much to have these high standards, but you feel like, no, I have to live up to the high standard or else I'll be lazy, or else I'll stop trying. No. Okay, get clear on what it costs you to keep trying to live up to that idea, so that you're like, wow, I'm no longer willing to pay the price of not enjoying myself at all when I dance. I'm no longer willing to pay the price of feeling so insecure all the time, even outside of dance, because all I do is look at what's wrong with me. I'm no longer willing to pay that price. So instead, then the second part of this point is then ask yourself, okay, I'm no longer willing to pay that price, but what do I want to allow myself to experience instead by letting go of those old standards? Tip number 4 is to let go of the rigid thinking that's really behind all this perfectionism. Rigid thinking is strongly associated with mental patterns that end up leading to things like anxiety and depression. When we are very rigid in our thinking, it looks like thinking in terms of good and bad. It's very black and white. Good, bad, better, worse. Oh, she's a better dancer than me, so I'm worse. This is exactly what it looks like to be a good dancer, and if you're not that, you're a bad dancer. It causes us to constantly feel like we're not measuring up. It's also a very fear-based way of thinking that lacks the nuance that actually allows us to relax and be grateful for where we're at. Nuanced thinking is so important, and I find that rigid thinking is so prevalent within ballet culture and dance culture in general. So if we could just start to practice noticing when you give yourself commentary about how you do each combination. Do you instantly go to, that was bad, okay, that was good, that was bad? How about instead of giving things a label of good and bad, or even telling yourself you should be better or you are worse than them, those are all judgments. So instead, why not practice awareness of how you could be a little more nuanced in the way that you assess things. So instead of seeing something you just did as bad or not good enough, how could you see it as an opportunity for growth? Or how could you see some of it as actually an improvement compared to last week, but next week you want to work towards making it like this? Start to assess things with more balance and nuance than just, oh, that was good, that was bad. Because when we have this rigid perspective, it can cause us to fixate so much on one mistake we made in a whole variation and feel like the whole thing was garbage just because we did that one thing. And it makes us actually blind to all the other stuff we did that was pretty good, or at least way better than we did a few months ago. And that's so worth celebrating. So let's bring back the nuance. Okay, so I'm going to finish off here with my little bonus tip. Tip number 5 is that perfectionism is so rooted in pride and the ego. It is so rooted in that. This is a humble message to internalize, my friends. I get it. I've been there. I have to check my ego all the time, all the time. A lot of times these very perfectionistic standards that we hold ourselves to are coming from a place of, I want to be perfect so everyone likes me. I want to be admirable so that I feel special. I want to stand out and be the best so I feel like I belong in a room. It's like, yeah, these are all core desires: to be loved, to belong, to feel like you matter, which a lot of times this desire to be special or unique is this desire to be seen and to be seen as being a unique force that actually matters. So I totally get that. There's a lot of core human desires that are wrapped up in these things, but the ego or pride twists it into this narrative of, I have to be that so that I earn love, or so that people like me. Or the ego often has these very rigid standards of, everyone has to like you, or no one can see you making a mistake, or they're going to find out that you're not a good dancer. When we just start to notice, how is my ego actually maybe showing up in this perfectionism? And how is it actually fueling these standards that are making me miserable and making me not feel good enough all the time? Then we can say, okay, hold on. Do I actually have to be perfect? Is perfection even interesting to watch? How much of myself would I actually lose if I constantly tried to be perfect? when we drop that and we say, how about I just allow myself to be human instead of trying to be this godlike figure who's so perfect, then we actually gain the freedom to be able to let go of some of these standards and gain the joy and the wonderfulness, that's not even a word, of just having a more nuanced, balanced expectation of yourself. So some statements that allow the ego to drop a little bit here are, I don't have to be perfect to dance beautifully and to create beauty with my art. I don't have to be perfect in order to impact someone and bring them joy through my joy in dance. I don't have to be perfect to live a meaningful, beautiful life. I don't have to be perfect to achieve my dreams. No one is perfect. We all know that, but it's so easy, especially in the era of the internet, to look at what other people are doing from the outside and think that, oh, they're so perfect, and because they're so perfect, that's why they got to where they are. Nope. No, 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 no. Every single person is imperfect, and as corny as it is, as overstated as it is, it just apparently takes saying a million times to finally internalize that no one is perfect. And we need to stop idolizing other people so much and thinking it would be so much better if we were perfect like them. No, you have everything you need, my friend, to live a beautiful, meaningful life. So just live yours, okay? Okay, this is turning into a much longer video than I anticipated. So I'm going to leave you there with those 4 points in the bonus number 5. Please let me know what you think. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know if there was a particular point that really touched you and spoke to you in your situation. I really hope that this helps you to just feel more free and to embrace how you're already doing enough, you're already doing well. I just want you to step out of that cage of perfectionism and enjoy, let go a little. You are doing more than okay, my friends. So hope this video really encouraged you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.